we might be too used to the story of Noah's Ark that we might miss how radical or how scary the thoughts that God had during this time. He told to himself, I will wipe out from the earth the men whom I have created, and not only the men, but also the beasts and the creeping things and the birds of the air, for I am sorry that I made them. Things got really worse from the sin of Cain and going down to his descendants and how they intermarried and really caused everyone to sin. That God was so disappointed to the point that he wanted to eradicate everything. And let me highlight that in case you miss it. Everything. Nothing left. He was so disappointed, he was so angry that he was willing to forget everything and wipe it all out until he saw Noah. Noah was a righteous man, and that made God change his mind. And in fact, not just change his mind about wiping mankind, but after the great flood, making a covenant with Noah and promising, and not just a contract, but a covenant, a promise, an exchange of life, that he will not do that again. Think about it. Things were at its worst, and yet one man was able to change God's mind just because of his righteousness. You know, we live in a very cynical world right now, in a very sinful world. Probably we don't hear it as often, but St. John Paul II, John Paul the Great would always say we live in a culture of death. We live in the worst of times when people uh, call sin convenience, or rather call sin a right. It is my right to kill a baby. It is my right to use contraception. It is my right to steal from people. And yet, God challenges us to be like Noah. The world might be at its worst, but God calls you to be a Noah in our generation, in our time. If one person, if one Noah was able to change God's mind from erasing the world, imagine what one, two, three, or even more can do. Brothers and sisters, don't be disillusioned that things are getting worse. What's important is that you remain faithful, that you remain giving yourself to God. And again, that is what Noah reminds us of. That is what God is challenging us today.